Oh, hey, Conway Junior High. Hello. I hope you enjoyed your first AMI lesson with me. Yes, some of you already knew the answers because you are geniuses. Others of you, I'm sure this is brand new information, and so I'm trying to not just throw a ton of crap at you to make it impossible for you to get this done. So, hopefully you understand a little bit more about flat key signatures. I am sure even if we don't come back to school, I will continue to talk about this. So we will just use this as an introductory lesson. Okay, so second lesson, but let's talk about the elephant in the room. Yes, I am wearing a hat. Oh my God, Miss what is happening to your face? I have a hat on. Occasionally on the weekends, I wear hats. So now you know. It's no big deal. We're moving on. Okay. Second day of AMI, we're going to talk about sharp key signatures. I know that probably came as a shock to you. Flat key signatures, and now we're talking about sharp key signatures. I think sharp key signatures are, I don't know. Some of you will find it easier to do sharp key signatures. Some of you will think that flat key signatures are easier. Potato, patata, it makes me know, never mind. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go ahead and pull up your flat key or sharp key signature document that I've got loaded into Classroom. I'm clicking on mine right now so that I can follow along while I'm talking to you about it. Okay, so it should say at the top, AMI lesson number 2, 317. Oh my gosh, it's St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Normally we would be pinching the crap out of each other, but we'll just pinch from afar. All right, so here we go. Watch the video. Hello, that's what you're doing. Read over this explanation and complete the worksheet on the next page. So here we go. Intro to sharp keys. I started out with just a reminder. The number one, you should know your lines and spaces. Okay, children, I cannot tell you this enough. Music is not going to make a lot of sense to you if you don't get these letters down. Some of you are still confusing them. You're putting them in wrong clefs. So please make sure you understand the treble clef, the clef for the high voices, soprano, alto, and sometimes tenor, are the ones that you started learning. Oh my gosh, my dogs. Every Good Boy Does Fine, FACE. The bass clef is the one that is different. And you can use your hand again for the lines and the spaces. You have 5 fingers, hopefully, in case you lost them in a boating accident. You have 5 fingers, and you can start at the bottom and say a phrase. It could be the one that I've got on the page, good boys do fine always, or I like good burritos don't fall apart. And then in between your fingers can be the 4 spaces. So the pretty normal one is all cars eat gas. I haven't found another one. I think Sophia does ACE G. So thank you, Sophia. You've brightened my life a lot with your things that you say. Okay, so that's the first thing. Remember your lines and spaces. This does not make sense if you can't remember those. So keep this sheet handy, and then at some point, just get these things learned, guys. All right, remember. Number 2, there are only 7 letters in the music alphabet, y'all. We're not dealing with a ton of knowledge. We are only working with a few letters in the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and when we get to G, we start all over again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's just like our solfege scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. There is no high do. There's no low do. It's just do. And you start over when you're ascending, and you start over backwards when you're descending. So remember those 2 things. Those are super important for you guys whose brains explode when we have to move past high do or below low do. Okay? There is no high or low. It's just do. All right. Order of sharps is different than flats, but it's not that big of a deal because it's just backwards. So if we learned that the order of flats was the word bead, greatest common factor, then the order of sharps is just that backwards. F, I have to look because I can't think backwards, F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Really simple. And I've written it out there with you. It's highlighted in yellow, and I say it's the same as flats, only backwards. It's the same zigzag pattern on the staff that we see. You see that we start with F, and then the example zigs down to C, and then back up to G, and it just follows that pattern until it gets through all 7 letters. So there you go. There's that example of what that looks like. So those are the first three things that will help us as we're thinking through sharp key signatures. Know your lines and spaces. Remember, there are only 7 letters, 7 syllables. Once we get to T, we just start back over again. And the order of sharps is just the order of flats backwards. All right, moving on to some new information for how to actually tell your key signature. How do I name it? How do I know if I see sharps at the beginning of my song? How do I know what those sharps are? Where's do? How do I find out all this information? So you can tell me later if you think this is easier or not. Oh, I even put on there, this is way easier. Some kids think it is. I don't care. I've been doing this long enough. It's all easy to me. This is way easier. You only need to remember one thing, and that one thing is that the very last sharp, as you're writing your sharps, la 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 la, as you're moving to the right, the very last sharp on the right is the syllable T. That's it. There's no extra rule to learn. There's no extra thinking. You don't have to count down from fa. You just need to remember that the last sharp that we're writing, as we're writing from left to right, the last sharp is always T. And then once you know that, all you have to do is remember that T always steps up to do. So you figure out what T is, and you just have to move on up to do. It's very simple. So that third bullet, remember T is one step lower than do. So to find the key signature name, identify what letter T is, and then you just move up one letter name. And we should all know our alphabet because we've been singing that alphabet song for a long time now, y'all. Okay, so if, in the first example, if my last sharp in that first bullet is F, I see that that's my last sharp. You see the picture right there, that single sharp key signature, that has one sharp, and it's on the F line. Every good boy does fine. It's on that top line, and that's the F line. F, just move up one letter name. So that is the key of G right there, okay? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay? You just move up one letter name. Now, if this is making your brain melt just a little bit, here's what I would recommend that you do. Maybe refer back often to your alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because you're having to do a couple of things right now that I can tell with some of you are going to start mushing together. So do yourself a favor. Don't feel like you have to memorize all of this and just figure it out in your brain. I've written the alphabet up there so that when you see that last sharp, that example right there with the single sharp, is on the F line, awesome. You've gotten that far. Well done. Identify the letter name of the last sharp. There's only one sharp, so that's the last sharp, and that's on the every good boy does fine. That's on the F line, so we know that last sharp is F. If your brain at this point stops and freaks out and says, what is my alphabet? English language? That's fine, okay? It happens. Everybody has a brain fart every now and then. But that's why I've put up there, remember there are only 7 letters in the alphabet and then I spelled them up. So now all you have to do is go, oh my God, A, B, C, D, E, F, oh, G. G is the letter after F. So this is the key of G, okay? Figure out the letter name of the last sharp, whatever it is. If there are 7 sharps, figure out the last letter name of that 7th sharp. If there are 3 sharps, figure out the last letter name of that 3rd sharp, last sharp. And then just move up one letter name. If your brain can't do that final step, there's no shame in you writing yourself out a help. I never said you can't write yourself out helps, okay? That's just how people's brains work. Until this becomes pretty second nature, you're probably going to need to write out a lot of help. So help yourself out, y'all. Don't be DBD. Don't be dumb. Don't forget to use tools and tips to help you figure these things out. I'm throwing a lot of new information at you. I don't expect you all to get it on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th try. Some of you might. Some of you may take it. Okay? All right. So number 4, that's the trickiest one. You need to spend some time here reading this, figuring it out. I've given you some examples, but just on the off chance that it's not making sense, just take a moment, okay? What's the last sharp? The last sharp is always T. And by last sharp, I mean we read left to right, so the last sharp on the right. Once you figure out what that last sharp is, change it to its letter name. Every good boy does fine. F-A-C-E, whatever its letter name is. Then you just need to think through your alphabet and go up one more letter name, okay? And that's the name of your key. So I've given you 2 more examples down there. If you see 3 sharps in that key signature, the last sharp, figure it out. It's G. And then you just move up one letter name. What's the letter after G? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm at the end. I have to start over. A. Okay. What about 5 sharps? Oh my gosh, Miss White, there's 5 sharps on there. Who cares? It's the rules still apply. 5 sharps. The last sharp is A. A, B, C. Oh, I just skipped it. A, B. So this is the key of B. You just move up one letter name. Figure out the letter name of that last sharp and then move up one letter name. Okay? Now, as far as what you call them, that's what number 5 is about. Not all sharp key signatures include the sharp symbol in their name. This is unlike flats. All of the flat keys had the word flat in their name. B flat, E flat, A flat. It's different with sharps because we don't have a lot of, it's not until we get to the end that we actually have a name that has the sharp on the actual spot on the staff. So only the last 2, the largest ones, the ones with 6 sharps and 7 sharps, have the word sharp in their name because we finally get a key signature that actually has a sharp where they live on the staff. So that's just a reminder. I'm not going to throw that at you anytime soon. We're going to keep it pretty simple at this beginning. So live with number 4 for a little bit. That's going to be the one that helps you figure out the answers on your worksheet. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm just going to look at the questions that I've asked you to answer. List the order of sharps. That's right there. All you got to do is scroll back up and find that answer. What solfege syllable is that last sharp? Oh my gosh, guys, we've been talking about this for now 11 minutes. What solfege syllable is the second to last flat? Oh, I threw a curveball, just trying to see if you knew your answers from yesterday. And then I do want you to list your letter names, but this time I've asked you to list the bass clef letter names. So please don't every good boy does find me, okay? And then, yeah, to make sure you understand number 4's process, I've asked you to find the name of a sharp key signature. What do you have to do to that last sharp? Okay, so you need to think through that process and you need to write it down for me. And then finally, I gave you a key signature to figure out. Please don't Google this, y'all. Yeah, you can Google stuff, whatever, Google Smart, whatever. But don't be done. Use your own work. Do your own work, okay? You can figure this out. Just go through the steps and figure it out. All right, that is all I have. Let's see what I'm going to wear tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe I'll be in my coveralls and maybe I'll be in camo and you won't be able to see me. Hope y'all are having a good time. I miss seeing you. I'd much rather do something where I talk with you on the regular. Please send me comments. Evan and Drew and Mary made my day today because they made me laugh. Okay. Stay tuned. I think I'm going to try and do something on Flipgrid, simply because I want to see your faces and I hate not seeing your faces. So I hope you have an easy time with this. If you have any questions, send me comments. I will answer them as quickly as possible. Maybe, within an hour or so. All right. See you guys. Bye.